All right. Mic check. I'm good. So I'm Max Ceron. CWBA Association Welding podcast. Today we have a really cool guest. Welding podcast.
The show is about to begin.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the CWB Association podcast. My name is Max Ceron with you guys here to show you another fantastic story of the welding industry. With me today, I have Roddy Phillips coming to us from ARC Services, or arc24-7.com is their website. So Roddy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on, Max.
All right, so Roddy, let's get this started with a little bit of history about who is Roddy. So you told me you're in South Carolina right now. That's the headquarters for your company. Is that where you from? Is that where you're born, or is that what are your roots?
Born and raised in South Carolina, small town, Kershaw, South Carolina, about an hour south of Charlotte, North Carolina, and grew up there. Went to school there. Went to high school there. Spent about the first 18 years of my life there, and then left from there and went into the Navy, the U.S. Navy. And it was something that my grandfather, he served in World War II. He was in the Marines. My dad, he served in the U.S. Navy. And not something that was really mandatory for our family, but something that I felt like I wanted to continue on and go and do myself.
So did you already know that you wanted to go into the military before you were out of high school, or was it still kind of on the platter? You're a teenager, you're not too sure what's going on, or did you already know?
I knew that college wasn't the direction that I was going to be headed in. And growing up, I saw that the military was an opportunity to go and see the world. I remember seeing pictures of my dad in Greece as he went on tour in the Navy, and I thought that was really cool to get to. I love where I'm from, but to see other places and to travel. So that was one of the allures of getting out and seeing what was out there.
And I have a little bit of history with the Carolinas, but it's a little bit different because I live in a province here in Canada. I'm in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, and we got a football team, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and we are like football crazy in this part of Canada, and we bring up a lot of players from the Carolinas. You guys got great football programs down there, and some of the players that don't make it into the NFL or have 1 or 2 years of NFL experience, they'll work their way up into Canada for a good job of pro football. And I've always noticed that the players that come from the Carolinas, real humble, real good people. So it seems like a real nice place in the United States.
We try to be humble. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a great place to raise a family. I served in the Navy and then came back and have a family here in South Carolina. We still travel. We still go on, vacations to other places, and we've been to Canada, but there's no place like home. And, I think it's a great place to raise kids, as I'm sure your hometown is too.
Yeah. So how long were you in the Navy? So you got into the Navy, you're a young kid. I mean, sometimes you have dreams of getting in the military and then you get there and you don't like it, but how'd you fit in?
So I love the Navy, and I can remember leaving. So my family grew up. I kind of grew up in the welding business. My
Okay.
father and my uncle were both in the power generation field as far as welders, pipe fitters. So I kind of wanted to do that in the military to get a understanding of a better understanding, some education. And at first, that did not work out. In the Navy, everything is kind of named something different. A welder in the Navy is a hull maintenance technician, and so I guess, decided to go in undesignated as into the Navy,
Mhm.
and so the first year to 6 months to a year, I was an undesignated seaman. And when I got on to the first ship that I was on, I, it was kind of like going to a trade school. You could go to the different departments on the ship and see what everybody did, and I got drawn to the pipe shop, the whole maintenance technician shop, and it was just it was very refreshing. It felt like I was around people that I had a lot in common with, even though they were from different parts of the world. It we all shared a similar interest in welding and mechanical things. So that was how I got into the welding department. I actually had to do all the classwork and strike, is what they called it, into the whole maintenance technician department. Um, but I believed that that was what I was going to do. And then while I was in the Navy, Clinton was in office. Bill Clinton was the president, and he was downsizing the military. So we went on Westpac. We came back. They decommissioned that ship. I got an opportunity to go to A school, and instead of going to whole maintenance technician school, they decided that I should go to machinery repairman school. And I basically wanted to get that schooling. So, and a machinery repairman is a machinist. So I actually went to that school, finished out my career. I went to two more duty stations within that 2-year period because Bill Clinton was trying to downsize the military so much, and got to see different, more production type fabrication setups
Hmm.
and smaller job site type setups of machining and welding. And that was how I finished out my career. I had worked in both fields and uh, learned a lot while I was in there from a
So,
technical standpoint.
so you get a pretty well-rounded education there. You get some welding, get some machining, and obviously, like I have friends who are in the military, and actually, I was teaching at the college, and the program head for the machine shop served in the Canadian Navy as a machinist for decades, and he's always telling me that you get a very well-rounded education in the military because just because you're in a program doesn't mean you're not doing other things. You're getting moved around, and you're learning a whole bunch of other skills at the same time. So for Roddy coming up, you're in the military now 4 years, 5 years, you're working on this. Do you see yourself at that point as a lifelong Navy seaman, or are you looking to climb the ranks of the military, or what was your vision at that point?
The first 2 years, I would have probably stayed in there for 20 years. I would have signed a contract immediately for 20 years.
Hmm.
But as the situation changed where I was moving so much, and um, got into a relationship with a lady that's my wife now of almost 25 years, um, and had seen that a lot of families struggled in that military lifestyle, and didn't want to go through that myself. So it led me to get out, and but to every young man and woman, I do recommend going into the military because you do learn a lot. You see so many things that you just can't really see in the civilian world because everything's more spread out. You're in a condensed environment. Very, it gives you a lot of focus. Your uh, determination as to accomplishing things because they want you to progress throughout that system. Uh, so it's an experience I would never want to change in my life, and I really encourage young people to do it. Like you were talking about, being able to see a lot of different things and learn different things. I was able to learn about electroplating while I was in there. I learned about pump repair, uh, learned about different welding processes, and copper nickel and different alloys that don't really work with a lot
Hmm.
outside of that, but still it's an experience to take with me.
So then you're coming out of the military. Like, how many years were you there before you decided to leave?
Probably the last year and a half, I was ready to get out.
You're ready to get out. And how
I'm
many
ready.
years? How many years total were you in the Navy
four.
there?
I was only in for 4 years.
So 4 years. Okay. So you're coming out, so you're still a young man. Like, I mean, you're 4 years
Oh,
in, you're
yes.
still a young man.
Yes, sir.
When you came out, you have a kind of now a few skills. Were you looking to get into welding and follow kind of, your uncle and your father's footsteps, or machining, or looking to, like, I mean, are you already dreaming big and thinking, I want to start a company, which I don't think too many young people think like that.
No, absolutely. I don't think people see that far into the future. The people that do, I admire them because I didn't. 15 years ago, we started this in 2010. So 5 years before that, I didn't see myself in this position today.
Mhm.
But you know, when I got out of the Navy, there were a lot of people that said I shouldn't get out because it was too tough in the civilian world. I tell, I told all those people, I'm going to try it for myself to see what it's like, because there's a lot more people out there than there are in the military. But those skills really helped me. I could have went straight into the same industry that my father and uncle were in, but I actually did everything I could, from running the roads, being in the power industry, uh, just for the simple fact of the military. Being a traveling construction worker is very tough on a family life also.
Mhm. Mhm.
I wanted to try and stay away from that. But after about I got out in '96, and by '99, I was uh, I was in this industry. I came to a company that my uncle was part owner in. The name of it was Encompass Services at the time. Later, it changed to Carolina Energy Solutions. But right then, that was the start of my journey and to the power industry welding services.
Mhm. So then when you came in with your uncle at that point, were you focusing on perhaps just honing your skills as a welder, or, you know, honing your skills as a machinist, or was at this company were you still kind of doing a little bit of everything?
When I came into that company, I came in as a machinist.
Okay.
We were, but it was to maintain the welding equipment. So I was making parts for orbital welding systems. We were working on narrow groove welding systems. I was improving the track systems that we were using, adapting certain machines to work on different tracks that to give it different capabilities than what it currently had. So I was actually able to combine my skills that I learned in the Navy for welding and machining. I felt like was the best use of my skills, and there was something always different. We were looking at new projects, different applications all the time. So it was very intriguing for me very early on.
Okay. And at this point you're still home based, you're still in Southern Carolina, you're still kind of in your area that you like. So everything's coming up, Roddy, at this point. Everything's going pretty good.
Absolutely. We were, yeah, it was great, and still is. I was originally, when I went to work there, like I said, I was a machinist in the shop. I was working on equipment that we owned or either rented and modified. And the originally, I wasn't supposed to even go out in the field. And within the first 6 months, or 3 months, excuse me, I was out on the road, and you know, which I had tried to avoid, but it just kind of drew me in, running the road, being a construction worker. So, uh, but really, really appreciate all the time out in the field. You see a lot of different applications and learn a lot of different things, and see what you've taken from the shop into the field and put to work, and how we can improve it and what we should do different. So really cool stuff.
And that's a valuable lesson that comes up often in the show with tradespeople I talk to around the world. Is when you come across the cream of the crop, the guys that are out there that are really making a difference, they have worked on both sides of the fence. They have been in the shops and been a part of the design and when you get the smart guys sitting there looking at a piece of machinery thinking, how can we make this better? How can we make it faster? But then on the other side of the fence, you got the people that are out in the field that are just making it work with whatever they got.
That's
Where
right.
you just got to be creative and I don't, I wish I had everything, but I don't. I got a grinder, I got a welder, and I got some scrap steel. And what the heck am we going to do here? And that really creates a different type of education.
Oh, absolutely. You know, loading up for a job with tools, you always think I'm going to go, loaded for bear. I'm going to take as much as I possibly can. And no matter what you take, you will never have enough, or you'll never have the exact right thing. And like you say, you just have to make it work. You have to figure out that situation, and just and make it happen out there, because you got to get it back online. The customer's ready to make power in power generation on different fields. They're all just trying to get back into some type of production mode, and they're looking at you to make that happen. And whether it's welding, machining, a combination of both, pipe fitting, it all has to come together and make it work to get it accomplished.
And I imagine your military training at that point is also very helpful because that's a very high pressure situation. When you got people standing around waiting and you get the call, it's on you. Like you got to get this thing going, you and your crew. And sometimes it's just you by yourself, and the sweat starts running, and you start thinking, what the heck am I going to do? But they're counting on you. So that's a tough place to be in.
It is. And the military did have pressures like that. I would say it's still different than the civilian world, because
Hmm.
in the military, it could be a combination of different things, but everything in the civilian world typically rotates around the dollar, and
Hmm.
getting things done, because we have to make money at this, which keeps everybody employed. And you know, the choice on the contractor that they plan to bring to site is based on how much they believe that this contractor can help them accomplish their task of getting back in service, and doing that reliably. So it's similar in pressure, but that financial aspect of it, it puts a total different spin on it too.
It does put a different spin. All right. This is a great time for a break right now. We've already gone 20 minutes. It's amazing how time flies. So we'll take a small break for the sponsors, and then we'll come back and we'll continue the story of where you went after your uncle's shop. All right. So stay tuned here at the CWB Association podcast. I'm Max, and with Roddy here, and we'll be back right away. And we're back here at the CWB Association podcast. My name is Max Ceron. Thank you for tuning in with us for another fantastic episode. We're kind of talking to Roddy Phillips here from ARC Services, and kind of following his life story. We just finished off with him getting pulled back into the contractor world, getting out on the road, which he said he'd never do again, and working with his uncle. So at this point, you're now getting a little bit longer in the tooth with the field. You understand your trade better. You're getting more confident. At what point here do you start thinking that you're going to branch out on your own? How did that process happen?
Um, so I had the company that he owned was sold to a different group, and different things happened, and people had left and started their own businesses. And when another company is purchased by another company, the environment uh, changes, and
Hmm.
good or bad, and everybody sees it differently. But I had gotten the opportunity to go with one of the people that had left, to start his own business, and I thought, hey, that's great. I'll go over there with him, and and we'll build something similar to what we had just left. Um, but within about 6 months, that did not pan out the way we had thought, and we were both um, looking for new opportunities. And fortunately, I was, um, I would say, brave enough, or silly enough, or crazy enough, blessed by the Lord enough to jump out on a limb and start this, and had some really good people that decided to go with me and do this, start this business. Uh, you know, the thing about starting a business, it's about like having kids. If you wait till the right time, there's never the right time. You'll never be fully prepared to start it. Uh, I don't have a business degree from college. I don't have really any college,
Hmm.
and I'm sure uh, most professionals would say that we would never be successful. And we're 10 years into this thing, and I think we have a great reputation. We work with some of the biggest companies in the world, and uh, we're totally blessed with what we have achieved, and I think that our customers would say the same thing, that we provide them with a great service to be relatively still a young construction company, but we do some really good things for our customers to help them get back online and to continue to make power. So,
Hmm.
um,
You know,
go ahead.
sorry,
I'm
go.
sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Well, continue on, like to think of the right time to start a business. You know, it will never be there, and to think that you're prepared enough to do it, it's you've got to jump out there and just be willing um, to make those mistakes. You got to be willing to learn on the fly. Probably much like when you started broadcasting the podcast, you didn't know everything about doing podcasts, but you can start doing it. You make a mistake, you learn, you keep going forward. And I think those mistakes are what, if we learn from those mistakes, it really helps us as individuals to grow and to progress, and just achieve the next goal, whatever that is. I didn't have a goal of starting a business, but everything that I had done before then had prepared me to that point
Hmm.
to start this business. And the people that I had around me, uh, which like Mike Miller, Nadine Boyd, Gordon Black, these people, they helped to fill in the blocks that I couldn't fill in to make this thing successful. So you can be a really smart person, but you need really smart people around you.
100%. And that that confidence in your own skill is a huge part of it, because starting a business, anyone can start a business until you get your first job. And if you don't do that first job right, that's the end of your business. Like, it'll just fall right on its flat face right there, because nothing props your business up more than a happy customer, right?
Absolutely.
And and that comes from your confidence, because you got to be able, like we talked about earlier, to figure it out and make sure that things are done right, and that only comes from your own personal experience. Now, I started my first business when I was young, and my first one failed miserably because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And my second one went much better because you learn, right? And in and out of private industry. But one of the things I noticed right away when I go to your website, arc24-7.com, for the people that are listening, is I see ARC services and I see right away veteran owned. So, you know, when you started this company, was that an important brand for you to establish, that you were a veteran owned company? At that point, are you the only owner, or did you have a team of other veterans that you worked with? Or even now, is there all veterans or some veterans, or how does it work?
No, so I am the only veteran. I'm the majority owner,
Mhm.
and that's how we are certified. We are a certified veteran-owned business.
Okay,
Uh,
good.
but Early on, no, we did not acknowledge that fact at all. That's really came through our customers asking questions and inviting us. Probably about 2014 was the first time that we ever acknowledged that portion, like you had talked about being humble. That wasn't something that I guess threw out there for
Hmm.
recognition. It was at the request of our customers through conversation. And we got invited by a utility to participate in a diversified conference for vendors. So after that, we started acknowledging it and promoting that aspect of our business.
And for the people that are listening to the podcast, if you go to the website and you go to the ARC News and you go down to the bottom, there's a picture of young Roddy Phillips with his Marine outfit on, and
Navy,
geez,
Navy,
or
not
sorry,
Marine.
Navy outfit, and he's got a lot more hair in this picture than he does right now. So,
Absolutely.
all right, so your company now, it's 10 years running. I think you're about 10 years in. I think is what the website says. Is you guys focus on kind of where you've been all along, is the power service industry, right?
That has been the bread and butter of what our business has been for the last 10 years. At the September of 19, or excuse me, 2019, we we started a facility out in Texas and Pasadena. We're in Houston now. Also, we're reaching out to the oil and gas chemical sector. This is, you know, we want to grow, and we
Hmm.
feel like being in Houston and being in Texas is a great place to grow in the U.S. So that's why we're out there for that, and it's been beneficial for us. We've built some great relationships, and we see that being just as productive and beneficial as what we've done on the East Coast. And while we've been on the East Coast since the beginning, we've worked from South Carolina all the way to New York City, all the way to California. We've been involved with some projects in Colombia and in off the coast of Africa. So we have done some international work, but by and large, we've worked everywhere in the U.S. Still waiting to come to Canada. We haven't done anything in Canada yet, but uh, we would look forward to any opportunities to work up there.
It's funny. I actually had in my notes here Canada. I was wondering if I was going to ask you if you had ever come to do any work up here, or if you guys have any affiliation with the CWB or the Canadian Welding Bureau at all.
Not at this moment. I have worked in Canada in the past with another company where we had modified some welding and machining equipment and came up and instructed and trained the craftsmen that were going to be working with that. That was at one of the nuclear power plants in Canada. So I have had some involvement and experience with that, but it is nothing that we're looking at currently.
Well, you should look to my end. I'm in central Canada. We got lots of mining and oil and gas where I live. It's kind of why my roots are here. I've never left where I work because I got so much industry around me. I'd be crazy to leave here. It's been good for me. So
It's about like Houston, huh?
yeah, it is. We got oil, we got mining, we got uranium and diamonds, gold. We got all sorts of stuff. And Canada's such a big country. Like we got space. We haven't even touched our resources yet. Like
Wow.
we're short a couple million people here. So
Oh yeah, it's beautiful up there. I went to the Fort McMurray
oh
like
yes.
years ago, and drove back. I can't remember the town or the city below that. Um,
Edmonton.
Edmonton, yes. That was about 6 hour drive through the countryside, and it was
Hmm.
it was beautiful.
And that's only this much on the map.
Yeah, but there was a lot of empty space.
Yeah, there is.
A lot of space between towns along that road.
So now with ARC 2020, okay, so correct me. I see on the website ARC 24-7, but then I see on the website it says ARC Services. What's the name you guys go by?
So we actually are a double-breasted company,
Okay.
and So we have Arc Energy Services is our open shop side, and Arc Union Services is our union arm. And in addition to that, we've also done a rigging business that is Advanced Rigging Services. So it's kind of the ARC family,
Okay.
Advanced Rigging Services, ARC. So to simplify everything, we promote ourselves or doing business as ARC Services. So depending on what you need, whether it's rigging or union welding services or open shop welding services, we can come and provide that for you. But at that point, we don't have to clarify all the different names.
Hmm.
But it's a doing business as is ARC Services.
So seeing as you guys have so many branches and kind of cover a lot of areas of industry, do you have a lot of like full-time staff? Do you maintain full-time staff or do you guys contract in?
We do have full-time staff, but um, the nature of our business is very seasonal based on
Mhm.
the maintenance and outage work of the plants. So we're cyclical. We go up and down as the seasons do, and we're always testing new welders. We have people contacting us wanting to come in and test. We're contacting people to test, and we're constantly working with craftsmen to build those relationships and get new people involved. And over 10 years, we've had periods where we've had 100 people out in the field during a season. We've had over 300 people out in the field for a season. So it's it's always changing.
Mhm. I also saw in your on your website that in November of 2020 you guys went through a restructuring plan where you went from being the owner to the CEO. So you guys are now incorporated. You went from a sole proprietorship. Was there a change there in the company, or how did that play out?
No, we were we've always been incorporated.
Okay.
There were multiple owners. Uh, I've just moved into the CEO position, and Mike Miller moved from the vice president position to president. And we've just done after 10 years. We felt like we needed to do some restructuring and just do some internal process improvement to provide our customers with the best service we could.
And it looks like you got pretty young staff. It looks like quite a few of your brain trusts there are younger fellas and women that are, that's not something you see in a lot of companies out there. And I think that's an awesome thing that you're doing.
Yeah, so I would say that probably the average age here is probably in the mid 30s.
That's amazing.
But yes, and um, it's giving younger people opportunities uh, to show what they can do, and it's been a great thing to watch people grow. I would recommend that. You know, I feel like I was given opportunities as a young person as I was getting into this industry, trusted with things that I was actually a little surprised people gave me the opportunity to do, uh, which were beneficial to me, and I really do enjoy watching people test themselves uh, because they don't know everything that they're being asked to do, and they have to learn it, and they have to figure out a way to get through it, and just to watch that growth process is pretty awesome. And nothing against people that have college educations and have went through college, but the majority of the people that uh, are moving up through our company have that field experience, have came out of the field and know what when we're talking about a project, they understand the different scopes that we're talking about, and they know what the people in the field are going through. It's not that you sometimes people get disconnected from the business and the actual business that's going on out in the field,
Hmm.
and we have to stay connected to um, our people because our people are our business. without that, we're just a company name. Our people are actually the people that are getting for us. Have
Yeah.
to constantly keep them um, in the know.
Yeah. And, you know, that's something that I've worked for a couple larger companies, helping them with some restructuring, and it's always interesting because there's this concept at the top of some of these large corporations where it's like, well, we want the best of the best, and we want to have the hiring practice reflect how much we care about industry, and yet they don't move people up within the people that have been with the company and know from the ground up how it works. They don't give those people the opportunities to rise within because, like you said, maybe they don't have the education or they don't have whatever piece of paper that they're supposed to have. And so then they go out and hire somebody that has nothing to do with the industry because they just got a piece of paper. And I don't know if that's the right way to do it. You know, I don't feel like that works out well that often.
No, I don't think it does either. Just because somebody has a piece of paper does not um, translate into work ethic or dedication, ability to learn new things and adapt. Like we were talking about before, out in the field, you just have to get it done. And in a small business like ours, people are wearing multiple hats, doing multiple things. Um, we have to stay late. We have to come in early. We have to be willing to go on the weekends when the customer calls, um, whether it's me or Mike or whoever. We have to respond to what the customer's needs are, and I think it's important to for us to do that and show that dedication to people under us, and they also show it back to us when we ask them to do those things. I've never had anybody that hesitated in doing something, whether you know took more time as far as coming in early, late, going, being on the weekends to go and visit a customer, because that's how they see this business runs.
Hmm.
We're here to service the customer, and giving those young people opportunities to grow is beneficial to us and them. And a degree will not teach that.
No, it's a different education. And you know, I am never against a college education.
No.
You know, I went to college myself, but where I am today in my career has a lot more to do with the time I spent on the tools and the people I worked
Mhm.
with and what they taught me. That gave me a lot more of the ammo that I needed in my bag to get me to where I need to be, right?
Oh,
Now,
absolutely.
how about you now as the CEO of this successful company? How often do you put the boots on and get out there back on the tools, or are you too far away from that now? Like, do you miss it, or do you still get out there?
No, last fall I spent a few weeks out on a project. It was local well, it was within about an hour and a half of my house, but I spent a few weeks out on a project. We had a very busy fall last year. We had to move things around, and I saw an opportunity to get back out there and be involved with the project. So I took it and got out of the office and was there before the sun came up and there left when the sun was going down. So it, and it's good for me because it reminds me where I came from, and
Hmm.
don't forget where you come from because it's just not good to. You better be humble. And
Yeah, I was just having that conversation with Clay, I believe her name is,
mhm,
or the lady who organized this, and she was talking
yes,
about getting some adult welding competitions running, and I said, "Wow, that's a great idea," you know, because you
mhm.
know sometimes us guys get long in the tooth and we end up in offices and in chairs, but you know I still love getting on those tools. Like I love being out in my garage and building things and you know a little competition like that sometimes gets the fires burning again.
Well, if they're not humble, there may be some humble pie they have to eat. I'm sure there're going to be a lot of smack talking before this happens. So
Yeah, yeah.
hopefully they're practicing up. A lot
Oh,
of them are probably
geez.
going to have to go get eye exams and get some readers or cheaters or
Get
something.
some cheaters in there. Yeah,
Yeah.
I still got 20/20 vision somehow. 20 some years of welding, and my eyes are still good. I'm deaf as hell. I got to wear these really big ear muffs now to hear properly. But my eyesight's still good.
I'm struggling in both areas,
Yeah.
eyesight and hearing.
Yeah.
And I would recommend that to young guys. Protect your eyes and protect your ears.
Oh,
You know,
geez, 100%.
I was told that, and I didn't appreciate the knowledge that older people gave me. And I would say hearing is something that you know you don't appreciate till it starts fading.
Hmm. I struggle with it quite a bit. I'm actually right now working on getting some hearing aids because it drives my family crazy, and all of us. It's very frustrating. People talking to you, you got no idea. You know.
Absolutely, and I feel like I struggle the most when I'm in a crowd,
Hmm.
multiple people, multiple conversations going on. I have to really focus on what that is, and it's something that I've noticed the last 4 or 5 years really affecting me.
So for the Canadian welders that are listening to this show, this podcast is well, it's listened to around the world, but most of our followers are Canadian. If they're looking at someday being like, I wouldn't mind going down to the US for some work. Who's this company? Maybe they'll hire me. How would that work? When would be a good time to maybe come down and apply? What kind of prerequisites are you looking for in a tradesperson that may be interested in working for your company, even if it's just for a season?
So we typically are looking, our hiring test is uh, a monster coupon test where TIG stick, uh, weld out. Then we get into some P91 materials, which is a high chrome material. We have a test for that. We also are always looking for people that have orbital welding experience. We have a couple different orbital welding projects going on right now. So people that have experience with that are always vital to us. So we would um, we would love the opportunity to work with some Canadian people that are craftsmen that you know want to come down here. Our seasons typically run between March to June, and then from late August up till mid December. It really starts fading off maybe right at Thanksgiving for the U.S.
Hmm.
The end of November, but that's kind of our peak seasons, and absolutely help us. We would love for y'all to come down and help us figure out how to do this stuff down here.
Well, it's
Bring
it's
some
just I
knowledge to us.
I just love having welders or tradespeople get some experience with traveling and seeing how other people work and do projects
Absolutely,
because I've had the most incredible experiences in my life with being able to work around the world, and it's made me a better person. And I'm sure you have too. And whenever I see young people kind of starting their careers and they're looking at what the options are out there, I say, while you're young, before you get married and get locked down, if you get a chance to travel, take it.
absolutely, and that's what we do. There's probably only a few sites that we work at that are within 30-40 minutes from us. The majority of them are a couple of hours away from our actual office. So I'm not sure if everybody, um, you know, understands the geography of the U.S., but we hire people. We're located in South Carolina, and we have people that work with us from Pennsylvania all the way down the East Coast, and from Texas all the way across the Gulf Coast. And those people are constantly traveling back and forth to different areas. And I agree, you learn so much by going to a different area and just gathering that knowledge base from those people. And I would encourage anybody, you don't know what tomorrow holds. If I looking at myself 15 years ago, I did not know that I would be here today. But those experiences um, really helped to develop me without my own knowledge, just embracing those opportunities to develop, to learn new skills. watching people above me, how they were treating the people around them, how they were, um, you know, and encouraging the workforce, encouraging the young guys coming into the field. I would say learn all you can from the people above you. Don't be too good to take a job that you think you're better than, because you don't know what you would learn in that situation. So
Mhm.
um, always be willing to learn. I think that's the best information I can give to somebody just getting started in this, um, because all it's going to do is help you grow as an individual. And I would love to see everybody start their own business. I think it's one of the most rewarding things that you can do. And you know, I appreciate all the employees that we have. They are family to me. Um, they just it's very rewarding to go out there and know people's names. You know, on a job, and people know you, and they appreciate what you're doing for them, and I appreciate what they're doing for us. And just to have that conversation while you're out there, and know that they know that I came from the same background as where they're at today, and
Mhm.
and and I'm willing to go out there and work with them right now. So like I said, I was on that project in the fall, and it was just refreshing to be with the guys and the
Well,
girls, but
you stole my last question right out of my mouth. At the end of every
oh,
podcast, I always ask every guest I have to give some advice to the new people coming into the trades, or young people starting out in the career, or not necessarily even young. If you're looking to switch careers, which is happening lots in North America right now, people that were in the offices, maybe went to college and now are realizing like those jobs are very not very safe, and the trades are safe. There's always work in the trades,
mhm.
and they're looking to change. I always ask my guests, what advice would you give them? But you answered that beautifully right now.
I didn't know. I should have had the cheat notes. I would have known to wait for that
No,
that
no, no. I
question.
don't give I don't give no cheat notes. You asked me a couple times for some cheat notes, and I said no, sorry.
Yeah. No, I agree. The no discount for any person that has a degree. I think degrees are amazing, and anyone that finishes college, I have the ultimate admiration for them. It wasn't for me, and I
Mhm,
knew that early on. Um, but there are a lot of people that are realizing that the trades are very secure, and there's a lot of money to be made in them,
mhm,
especially if you're willing to travel. Sometimes, depending on the areas you're in, there's more or less money to be made. But if you're willing to travel, there's always a lot more money to be made because you're going to where the highest paying jobs are. Um, and I think it's great that people that have a degree are coming in to get a trade. I think that makes them more useful down the road to advance into these positions. And I would love to have people in here working with us that have degrees. We do have a couple people that have degrees that I know of that are welding and pipe fitting and things like that. And we're constantly looking at them and talking to them and giving them opportunities to grow, whether it be CWI or supervision. Uh, I, that people with degrees do perform very well in this industry.
mhm. And that's the future. Like I tell people, it's a mixture of education that makes people stand out now. 30, 40 years ago, you could say I'm a welder and that you're just a welder, and that would be a good life. 40 years ago, being a welder meant a house, a boat, and a cabin, and having, lots of, you could go traveling, but the world's a different place now, and things are tight and things are expensive, and the people that have the more opportunities to really grow are those that have continued their education. So you start as a welder and then you learn to machine, or you pick up millwrighting, or you learn hydraulics, or you go back to college and at nights and you take night classes and you get some formal education. And the more education you get in either area, it doesn't matter if it's trades or academic, it all makes you more valuable to an employer, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said before, and embrace every opportunity you have to learn, whether it's in school or on the job, and it will make you a more rounded person and a more valuable person.
Mhm.
So I really do encourage people to embrace that any type of learning.
Awesome. Well, Roddy, that's the end of our podcast. We've come to the end. It's been a fantastic interview. I hope you had fun.
I had a great time. Thank you for allowing me to be here. And for my first one, I think it went really good. And I appreciate you for allowing me to be on here.
You bet.
And please send all the people down here that to test with us, and please encourage some people to come down and work with us. We'd love to have y'all down here.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure they'll be happy to hear that. And for young people coming up, and listen to the podcast from anywhere, make sure you check out the website, arc24-7.com. You can get a hold of them and see what's going on. And like we've been talking about the whole show, keep your eyes open, keep working, stay strong. So thanks a lot, Roddy.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the CWB Association Welding Podcast with Max Ceron. If you enjoyed what you heard today, rate our podcast and visit us at cwbassociation.org to learn more. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions or suggestions on what you'd like to learn about in the future. Produced by the CWB Group and presented by Max Ceron. This podcast serves to educate and connect the welding community. Please subscribe, and thank you for listening.